The next guest is coming off a split decision win over Zhumagulov at UFC Fight Night on June 4th. It is Jeff Molina back here on the program. Jeff, how are you?
Good, brother. Doing well. How you doing?
Doing great too. I see you were drinking something. It looks like a cold coffee or something. What are you having today?
We got a venti vanilla cream cold brew, man.
Love it.
I don't get these pleasures inside of camp. It's usually black coffee, maybe a little stevia if I want to spoil myself in camp. So these are actually pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a cold brew guy myself. I like the nitro cold brew personally, but any cold brew is good. I'll have it during the winter too. Like it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yep.
staple of mine. So
I
there we
don't
go.
discriminate either. Cold brews are the way to go.
For sure. First I actually kind of wanted to start with, we'll talk about the fight in a sec, but how about, after the fight, obviously your opponent has a pretty big fan base. How has that been after the fight? Just, with people saying, oh, we don't think you won, all this stuff. How have you dealt with that? Because I know there's been a lot of social media stuff over the last week with you, but how has that been post-fight? I was just curious about that.
Man, it doesn't bother me
Yeah.
too much, or really at all. I grew up with the internet, man. I know what the internet is. I
Mhm.
know how Twitter works. I know how Instagram works. I grew up like on Xbox Live parties, man. Telling all my buddies we're gonna fuck each other's moms and like saying crazy, stupid shit. Like I don't let the trolling get to me,
For sure. Yeah.
and I wouldn't even consider this trolling. You know, they're standing behind their guy. Zhalgas has a whole country behind him in Kazakhstan, which is actually kind of cool. You know,
Mhm.
besides seeing them saying some hateful shit, it's cool to see them get behind their fighter as a country, as a countryman, and that's cool to see. Um, I think I won that fight, and maybe that's why it doesn't bother me. I think I won that fight, and yeah, I just don't let it get to me, man.
What's been worse, the feedback after the fight from, again, people feeling like their guy won, or the homophobic stuff you had, just by posting a rainbow shirt or whatever? Like, it seemed like there was a lot on social media. And again, I want to preface the question. I know that doesn't bother you, but I imagine you're getting a lot of messages since the fight.
Yeah, yeah. Man, there's two sides to it. I'm also getting a lot of
Love. Yeah, I imagine a lot
appreciation
of praise. Yeah.
and love, which is great. It makes me feel a little weird because it almost seems like I'm being appreciated for something that's just common decency. You know,
Mhm.
it's like saying murder is wrong. It's like saying rape is wrong. It's like saying racism is wrong. It's like that's the only part that makes me feel maybe a little bothered. Is I love it. I'm trying to get back to people that are reaching out to me via DMs on Instagram and Twitter when I have a little free time. I get a couple DMs in there um, to the people showing love, and it does feel a little weird though because I really don't feel like it's just common decency, man, and that's the only strange part about it. But as far as the hateful things, the love and the love that people are showing from this way outweighs that by a ton. So.
Let's talk about the fight itself. Did you expect the fight to be that close? Like, I know on paper, I know you were the favorite, just a slight betting favorite, but sort of, looking back to pre-fight, like, how did you expect the fight to play out compared to what actually happened?
Yeah, I expected him to be a little more aggressive. I expected him to come after me in the Manal Cop fight, in the Jerome Rivera fight. He got after those guys immediately. From the time the bell rang till the fight was over, he was on those guys. I was a little. I knew he was going to come and wrestle. He hadn't really wrestled any of his UFC fights, but I was saying this in the lead up was I brought my wrestling shoes. Like I felt like he was going to try to grapple me. It's a smart game plan. It's not how I thought the fight would go. I did think I would finish Zhalgas. I knew he slowed down. And he did slow down in that fight. Um, he had good head movement. He moved his head, was moving his feet. Just his approach was a little different than I thought he would take. I thought he would actually actively try to take me down versus just hold me on the fence. Again, smart game plan. Kudos to him. If I'm fighting me and people going forward are probably going to try to do the same thing, it's on me to be able to break that lock. He was strong, man. I couldn't break the lock, so I had to get a little creative, cut the wizard, and anytime he tried to advance and actually get the takedown, I was immediately back up to my feet. And it was just when he was milking the clock with the body lock that I had a tough time breaking it. But that's on me. I'll address that. I'm going to get better from this man. It's not how I thought the fight would go out. I didn't think it would be a close fight. If anything, I thought he'd win the first round and I'd blow him out the last two rounds if it went to a decision. If not, I saw a late finish. That's how sometimes it goes in this fighting game. The game plan doesn't always go to a T, but we got her done, man. Winners win, and I found a way to win, and I thought I won that fight.
Have you had a chance to watch the fight back?
Yeah. I've watched it at least 10, 15 times, man.
10 times, really? Okay.
At least.
I know you're a student of the game,
bro.
Jeff, but 10's a lot. I mean, that's,
Dude,
you know, because that's
at least.
Yeah.
Watched
Okay.
it twice just last night at like 1 a.m. So
Okay, and still made time to do the interview. I appreciate that.
let's go. Yeah. Yeah, man. I felt like I won that fight. I gave myself rounds 1 and 3. Rounds 3 being the clearest. Round 2, I gave him just because he landed a check hook on the button. The biggest criteria in the sport is damage. I know there's been some controversy in the last couple of weeks with what the judging criteria is, which is crazy to think of because the sport's been around for 28 years or something crazy. And we're still talking about how the sport is judged. And not many people know how it's judged. Fighters included. Myself, I was in that boat. But the biggest criteria is damage. And I felt like I landed the most damaging shots in the first and third. I felt like I was winning the second up until the point he landed that little check hook. But damage is the criteria. You don't get awarded control time and yeah, you don't get awarded control time just for holding someone against the fence where damage is precedent. So if there was no damage, he would get those rounds. But because I was landing the more damaging blows, I really feel like I won that.
And then the other thing as well was obviously the shot of you at, when they're reading the scorecards, once they said 30-27, I know you felt like they had given it to him. There's been some really good memes since that fight. I want to know what your favorite one is. I'll tell you mine, and then I want to see if we have a similar one. But someone said, kind of like the Maury thing, like when you find out you're not the father. I thought that was a really good one. Has there been any good ones that have stood up for you?
Definitely that was a great one, man. Man, I love the internet sometimes for reasons like that, and then other times from the homophobia and other things. I hate it, but yeah, that was a great one. The one where it was kind of similar is like when she tells you she's pregnant, but then she gets her period last second. That was hilarious. Yeah, it was good, man. As far as me walking away, I've been on the shit end of the stick of a split decision before in someone's hometown where the majority of people in the crowd thought I won. I thought I won. Granted, I shouldn't be having these close fights in general. So it was just the pessimist in me that thought the judge gave it to him. It wasn't me not thinking I didn't win that fight. It was just me being a pessimist. And even Herb came up to me and was like, right afterwards, like, hey man, you gotta believe in the judges a little bit more, man. Like, I know they got in a bad rap, but you gotta believe in the judges a little bit more. So it was cool.
How did you celebrate after the fight? Because it was also Krause's birthday, right? So I'm sure you guys got to enjoy yourself a little bit.
Kramer's joust, yeah. It was James's birthday. Happy, I'm not going to say the number because he thinks he's old, but he's not.
I know how old he is, but that's okay. We can leave it at that. That's fine. Do you really call him what would Kramer's joust? Do you actually call him that?
Sometimes, yeah, just to mess around. I do that with Laura too. Laura Sanko. I call her Sorolenko sometimes. Okay. But yeah, just messing around. What do? We watched the fights. Krause is a betting man. I'm a betting man. So we watched the rest of the fights. We got Krause a little cake. Told him happy birthday. We watched back my fight together. And yeah, that was a celebration, man. Krause is the man. I can't thank that guy enough for everything he's done for me, man. Literally took me from a 1-2 pro to a now 11-2 pro on a 10-fight win streak, 3-0 in the UFC. That guy has single-handedly changed my life, and I'm just super appreciative to have a role model, friend, coach, father figure like him in my life. And he's the reason I'm going to be financially free from the sport. He's the reason I closed on my first investment property last week because of him.
Awesome. Congrats. I didn't know that.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, thank you. He's done so much for me, man. He's taught me not just about the sport, outside of the sport, just life lessons in general, man. And I'll forever be thankful for him.
I got to bring this up. I don't know if you've seen it. Mohamed Mokaev. Did you see his tweet yesterday? I think it was yesterday.
I saw it this morning. Yeah, saw it this morning. He wants to fight, man. I love it, man. I love all these call outs. O'Day Osborne called me out on Saturday. Mokaev's calling me out. He's got a fight scheduled, but I love it, man. I think
it's good though. If you're getting on people's radar and they want to fight you, that's, I think, a good thing. I think it speaks to, that people want to, like, if people are ignoring you, that's when things are bad,
100%. I agree, James. That's why I don't mind it at all. I think our paths are going to cross. He's good, man. He's a young guy in this division, and I'm a young guy in this division, and I get better every fight. Obviously, he has a lot of hype behind him right now, and rightfully so. The dude's good. He's got a fight next month. I'm looking to get back there in October. As far as who I want to fight, there's a couple people calling me out. I let my manager and my coach decide that. If they like it, I like it. I said this time and time again. They don't even have to ask me. If they said yes, I'm already saying yes. Just tell me the date. Tell me who it is. Timeline-wise, I like October. That sounds good to me. I'm going to spend some time with my dad. And I got a trip to Italy planned next month, which I'm super excited about, man. Yeah.
Have you been before or first time going?
I've never been, brother. I've never been, which is really cool, man. That's one of the coolest things about being in the sport is being able to travel the world, whether it's fight related, like you're going for someone's fight, or just in general from the earnings you get from this sport. So there's 3 things I want from the sport. It's financial freedom, being able to travel the world on the UFC's dime, and then the third is a world title. So I'm doing one of those next month and going to Italy. It's been my dream destination since I was a kid, man. Like, I got the Roman Colosseum tattooed on my arm. I'm a kind of a nerd about Roman history. I listen to podcasts. I spent hours listening to podcasts on Roman history. So I am stoked to go to Italy. But timeline-wise, put me on the Abu Dhabi card. I was supposed to go there in January, got COVID a day before flying out to Vegas to then make the trek to Abu Dhabi. I'd love to get put on the Abu Dhabi card. I feel like I missed out not being able to do that. So timeline-wise, that's what I'm looking at.
Well, I would think that you mentioned some names there. Ode Osborne, I think, would make a lot of sense because you guys fought on the same card. You guys have the same manager, negotiation, same person dealing with the UFC. So I'd imagine that could make some sense, but you never know what, might happen with Muhammad Mokaev or whatever, right? So either way, it's good to be in your position. You got a couple nice wins, and like you said, you got all these guys calling you out. So
yeah, I love it, brother. I'm in no hurry to go through the rankings. I've told you this before. So if my coaches like it, my manager likes it, let's do it.
Jeff, always a pleasure, man. I know you gotta enjoy the victory tour this week. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Oh man, no one to thank. Just thank you for having me, brother.